Hey y'all, from Spindle Mountain Mercantile, I am Heather. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Project number 1. First, we're going to paint this big old fat chicken I found at the thrift store, and everything I'm painting today I'm going to use DIY Cottage Color in Americana. This is an all-in-one paint that has the sealer, the paint, and the base coat all in one. It's a collaboration with Debbie's Design Diary and Jamie Ray Vintage. I've used it once before and I wasn't really happy with it, but it was totally operator error. I did not mix it when I got down to the bottom. It was really thick and I was like, oh. So that's when I bought this handheld mixer from Amazon. It's rechargeable and it has different attachments. So if your liquid is thin or thick, it won't splatter. You can change the attachment accordingly. I will add a link for this in the description. Anything you buy from my Amazon links, I will get a little kickback from them and it won't change your price. Same goes with Debbie's DIY. Any products you buy using my link to Debbie's Design Diary, she will give me a little thank you and it won't change your price at all. And now I know what the heck I'm doing. You might ask, well, Heather, what do you think? Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think I love it. It's awesome paint. I didn't have to put 2 coats on this, really. I did go in and touch up just a few places where it was maybe a little thin or where I missed a crevice or something, but it is really good paint. I'm putting IOD, Iron Orchid Designs, transfers on every project today. And they are from, most of them are from the book. It's spelled REDOUTTE. I kind of think that the IOD sisters like to play a trick on us because they have all these awesome, fancy, fun words that I don't know how to pronounce. And I don't get to hear them say it when I order it. So this one's spelled REDOUTTE. And it's probably like Redo or something, but I think it's red out because it's almost all red. And, like a blackout is all black. So, yeah, that's what I think. And they're probably snickering right now because they played that joke on me. So these go on super easy on to this paint. I had no idea. I feel like I've been missing out all this time. Yeah, I'm using my fingernail. And the reason I'm using my fingernail is because of the crevices. I'll come back and tell you about that in a minute. But first I want to show you this. Watch how easy this releases. That plastic sheet, that's a carrier sheet. And as I'm rubbing the transfer, you can see it gets pale. That's because it's releasing. That's how fast it released, you guys. I was shocked. This is probably the easiest surface I've ever applied IOD to. After every transfer is adhered, I take the carrier sheet and I rub it over the entire surface of the transfer, and that just gets a really good adheration. Is that a word? Adheration. It's a word now. The way I apply my transfers varies according to the surface on which I'm applying them. So with this one, I just started at the top. Well, I started in the middle of the rows because it was the widest part and I worked my way out. And then when I get down to the bottom right there, I went down into the crevice and then back up on the high part and down into the crevice. If you don't do that when you have like dips, then it will be stretched out when you're done. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you only get it on the top part and don't go down in the crevices, when you peel back the carrier sheet, and you push down the transfer to adhere, it's going to crack at the bottom of that crevice. So I always try to make sure I go way down in the crevice. On the first 2 projects today, I'm using Debbie's Design Diary white wax. You can use it as a sealer. I'm using a towel to apply it, and I shouldn't have. I should have used a brush. But I'm kind of new to this. I saw Heather from Create Your Own Cozy put some white wax on Apothecary, I believe it was, and oh, it was so pretty. So, yeah, use a brush and follow the directions. That will be really helpful. You can wipe it down with a towel when you're done to get the look you want, but I like it in all the little nooks and crannies, and this little chicken has lots of those. I say little, she's a little fat chicken. She got lots of nooks and crannies. And here she is, my fat little chicken with Americana and red out. Isn't she just cute as she can be? So sweet. Project number 2. I have a confession to make. I don't like to use molds other than IOD. Not only because I sell them, but because I love them. I think they're exceptional. I think they're better than other molds. This is the first mold I ever bought, and I bought it to put on a piece of furniture when I first got my shop. And I really like these little birds, so I kept it. I did give away quite a few of my old molds, and I have nothing against other molds. As long as whoever is selling the molds aren't stealing the ideas from Iron Orchid Designs, I am totally cool with people using other molds. I think competition is good for business. But you guys, these birds, oh, they're just so precious. And I was even going to share what molds they are, but I don't know who makes them. Their name isn't on the mold. I can't find it anywhere, and I don't remember where I bought them. So sorry to tease you with these cute little birds. I stopped using cornstarch in my molds to release the clay because I haven't had an issue lately. And you know what? It's probably because I don't wash my molds as good as I should, and there may be some residue in there. I don't know, but for whatever reason, this Iron Orchid Designs air dry clay releases really good for me. This is one of those old plastic candlesticks that hangs on the wall from like the 70s. They actually are kind of coming back, but I just had a vision for this as soon as I saw it, and that's what I'm going with. To apply the birds, I'm using Titebond Quick and Thick. I buy this in copious amounts from Amazon, and I will leave you a link for that. I put the molds on while they're wet. I just add a little bit of glue to the back, and then I use a brush to spread it out. I gently pushed parts of the birds down into the crevices of this birdhouse, and you don't want to, I don't know how to explain it, but you'll kind of feel it. You don't want to push so much on the top that you get rid of all the pretty little designs that the mold makes, but you want it to adhere to the surface on the back, so you want it to be in a contact with as much of the surface as possible. I always like to show you that I double bag my clay, plus I keep it in the original package because it's air dry clay and it will get dry if air gets on it. So store it wisely. This cottage color paint went on so well. All I did was clean this piece. I didn't do anything else to prep it. And the surface of it, it's kind of like 70s popcorn ceiling. It must have been a theme back then, because it's real bumpy. But that paint just went right in all the parts and pieces, and it was pretty thick too. The same thing as last one. I only added a second coat here and there where it needed it, but look how thick it looks. I mean, it was awesome. I'm going to use this stuff so much more. And once again, I think those IOD sisters are playing games in my head, because these bugs, they're from a book called Millot''S. It's like millets, right? No, I think it's Mallows. I don't know. But for the purposes of this video, I'm calling it Millets Pages, y'all. Because millet, I like it. These bugs went on so good. And again, even this paint is amazing with transfers, and it's sealed already. All I did was apply it, and I didn't even have to put my finger down on top of the carrier sheet like I usually do and then pull it back. I just pulled it back. I did it really slowly so that the bug wouldn't pop up, but you guys, it didn't. It adhered. Oh, that's right. I'm using a towel again to apply the white wax. But I remembered before I was all the way done that I had this great wax brush. I bought it on Amazon. Surprise. I will add a link to that too. I'm slow on the uptake, y'all. But, I mean, they turned out really pretty, so it worked. When I finished applying all the wax, I went back and wiped off all of it over the bugs so that they would really pop. This is something kind of new for me. I say kind of because I took retail floral design in high school and I actually ran the florist part of our local grocery store when I was a senior. I got credits for that and I got paid, so that was kind of cool. But half the time I didn't know what I was doing. I remember a little bit. I always keep burlap ribbon around because I like to make string out of it, and I had a little bit laying around. I didn't want to use sphagnum moss, so I just wrapped some foam in the burlap, and that's what I just shoved it down in there and made sure all the foam was covered up on the glass. This is just one of those little candle glass, I don't know what they're called, but people use them a lot to make little tiny cloches out of. Yeah, it's one of those things. And when I was done with this, I did take the flowers back out and I glued them in place. Look how pretty it is. Project number 3, I finally get to make something I saw before Christmas. In the Iron Orchid Designs Creative Tribe Facebook page, a gal had posted one of these cake toppers that she painted with a greenish blue color, and then she put the kitschy Christmas transfers on it. Oh my gosh, it was so cute. Well, I could not find any of these for the life of me, so I did some ice skates. And if you want to see those ice skates and her original post, you can go to my playlist of IOD or Fa La 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 La, and you can find the ice skates, and there is a link in the description so you can see her original post. I finally remembered my sweet husband is always saying that I need to not drink the alcohol, but use a cotton pad to apply it to the object I'm painting, and I finally did that. Okay, I'm just kidding. I didn't do the drinking part, but I did do the alcohol applying, and it made it super clean. And listen to this. I'm scratching that pretty good, and I'm tapping it pretty good, and it's not coming off. So I'm telling you, this paint is amazing. Since I've learned what the heck I'm doing when I make these videos, I almost always take out all of my creative process because it just takes forever. But I want you to see how I did this one. My plan is to use one of the great big read out pictures to cover the top, and then to have other flowers coming out from below them. And I want you to see how I started this. Do you see all those little rings? Well, those all have crevices. So again, I'm going down, I'm starting with one, and I go down into the crevice and then back up the other side, and then down that next part, and then back up the other side. Do you know what I'm saying? Gosh, I keep saying, do you know what I'm saying all the time? I try not to repeat myself and say things like over and over and like repeat myself. Sorry. But I'm a human. My mom always says that I sound so good, and I think, oh, Mama, you haven't seen my awesome editing tools, have you? I mean, seriously, I edit out so many ums and ahs and uhs. But look how easy this comes off. Do you see all that light part popping up? It's because the transfer is attaching so easily. Now, when I went down the curve down the side, I just let the transfer tell me where it wanted to go. I didn't make a plan. I just, when I started rubbing it, if it popped in one side, I went towards that where it popped loose from the transfer sheet. And I just followed that light mark around, and it went all different directions, but it worked really good. Now, this one is kind of wrinkly. It's okay. When I burnish it, it kind of flattens out. But after this one, I started cutting the flowers to make a dart. This book has a lot of different stems and flowers that aren't attached to stems. Well, on the bottom section of this pattern, I need to put the stem and then the flower. If they already have the stem attached, I just put the whole thing down. But in this case, you can see I'm putting down the stem, and then I'll put the flower on top of it. When you make a dart in a flower, it's a good idea to cut it ahead of time. And I do that with pieces that are maybe like have one curve. But since this is rounded and curved, I did the dart after I started putting it down. I probably should have done it a little bit sooner, but it worked. Now, do you see right here, I'm holding one piece down and my thumb is under the other piece. That's because if my thumb wasn't there and I let that go down, then the transfer on top would stick to the carrier sheet on the bottom. So you want to make sure you keep them separated, and that makes a smoother edge than this one that still has the wrinkles a little bit. But they both look great. I love them. I love this big old flower, but y'all, it is too big. I mean, it's like Sputnik. Do you know what movie that's from? Heed pants now. If you know, let me know in the comments. Oh, I really wanted to use it. But this book has so many pretty ones. And look, this one is just as good. It's just a little bit smaller and it fit perfectly. I moved that leaf on the bottom around to where one of the stems didn't have any leaves. And I think it worked out perfectly. When you do a big piece like this on a smooth surface, it's super easy. But this one it wasn't difficult, but it was kind of tedious because every one of those rings is a dip all the way around. And there's 2 sets of rings, I believe. So I had to go around every single ring, and I did it the way I told you. I started in the middle and I worked my way out all the way around. So I went up onto the crevice and then down into, up onto the hill. And then the crevice, it reminds me of corrugates when I was a little girl, you know, like in the fields where they grow the corn or the alfalfa. And I had to make sure my horse ran straight down the corrugate so he wouldn't trip. Anyway, yeah. It looked pretty good. It had a few wrinkles in it, but I really liked it. I am super pleased with this. I'm keeping it. I know I always say that, but this time I really am keeping it. If I was selling it, I would probably seal it, but I didn't because I'm not gonna. It's gonna be for pretties, and sometimes I'll have something under it. It won't get where it's gonna be damaged. So, you guys, it's so pretty. I love how this turned out. Look at this. Project number 4. I think this is an old gelatin mold. It's aluminum and it's not real heavy duty. It can still be used after I do this, but I'm turning it into a pretty little wall hanging. First, I want to flatten out those handles, but I tried it this way just a little bit, and just even the small amount of pressure I put, you can see where that aluminum that's rolled over right there, it kind of started pulling away. So I'm going to have my sweet husband fix that, and he can do that for me later. You guys know what I'm doing here because you keep watching it, and I do it over and over. So I just want to listen to this song. The first time I heard another creator play the song, I was like, oh my gosh, it sounds like 38 Special. And that reminds me of my very first concert back in the 80s. It was Aldo Nova opening for 38 Special in Salt Lake City. And by the way, that was the first time I ever smelled that one smell. You know what I'm talking about? And I was shocked later to find out what it was because, I mean, it was Salt Lake City. Hello. Anyway, I'm going to start the song over because it's kind of awesome. This one's for all my 80s ladies. Wasn't that a fun walk down memory lane? I may have been playing the air drums just a little bit. Here's our finished project. You guys, I love this one. I want to keep it too. Ah, I can't help it. It's just so stinking cute. So which one was y'all's favorite? Let me know in the comments. I'm sure you already know mine. It was the cake topper. I have been wanting to do that for so long and I finally got to. But seriously, they were all keepable. What is a girl to do? I want to thank you guys for watching another one of my videos. I really appreciate that. If you liked it, would you please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing? I mean, seriously, you don't want to miss out on any of this in the future, right? So you might as well hit that notification bell too. Until you see me next time, I hope you have a wonderful week. And as always, I hope you are blessed. Bye.